Hi, my name is Dan Nelson. Thanks for joining me for another free art lesson. I want to talk now about the mouth, how to draw the mouth, front, back, sides, indifferent. I've already stated that the ends of the mouth, if you view a face from the front, typically end at the same distance apart as the pupils of the eye. So that gives you typically the width of the mouth. Now let's talk about, first of all, the overall structure. Again, drawing something from the front head on is so easy because it's flat and it's two-dimensional. You have to keep in mind that the mouth, the whole mouth structure is built like the front of a boat or the back of a boat, whatever. It's curved this way. So if you view it from one side or another, those curves are going to tuck around. The far curve is going to tuck around behind, out of sight. If you view it from, just to make sure you understand what I'm talking about, if you were to view a mouth from straight underneath, looking up at a chin, and of course that's the chin, and the mouth will wrap around something like that, placing the nose. In fact, this is a good exercise for anyone. Make sure you can draw a face looking straight up at the head, eyebrows and so on, cheekbones. So always keep in mind the overall shape of the mouth, even though I'm going to start out drawing it as if it's flat. Keep in mind that it's curving away from you at the edges. The shape of the lips varies widely from person to person and from race to race as well. On a Caucasian person, let me just go back to the side view. On a Caucasian person, typically the most forward part of the top lip is the same as the line of the top lip, where the line between where the lip goes from lip skin to face skin. Do you know what I mean? Where it goes from red lips to regular skin, that the farthest most point on a white person is typically where that line meets. On an African person, typically the top lip begins to curve back into the face before the lip finishes. So the top lip will have a rounded appearance like that. Do you see that? And the bottom lip like that. So that's more an African or black lip. A white person, this point right here is usually, when it turns back toward, that's where the lip ends. Make sense? And of course the lips are fuller on an African person, skinnier on a white person. And I'm very glad to say that we're past the days when all the models had skinny white lips. And we've recognized the beauty in every race. I'm very, very, very happy to say that that's the case for most people, that beauty knows no racial boundaries whatsoever. Be that as it may, I do know white lips better, so I'm going to focus on that primarily. The top lip has perhaps we could say three essential shapes. One is this crescent curved shape in the middle, flanked on each side by a triangle. The bottom lip typically has just two shapes, two stretched out ovals, or two stretched out raindrop shapes, perhaps you could say. That doesn't look much like a mouth, but if you keep those shapes in mind, it will help you when drawing a typical mouth. Now again, it's a little bit dangerous to say typical because there are so many variations on the mouth and so many variations on the smile. Let me give you just a few of those. First of all, if you're just beginning to draw a mouth, I would strongly urge you, if you want to do something, if you're doing a face that is very simple, very basic, do not make the mouth curve upwards. I know what a smiley face looks like. It looks like that. But that is an emotional symbol that is not an accurate reflection of what a mouth really looks like. If you want to be realistic, amaze your friends, and wow your mama, draw the mouth as a straight line. For starters, you'll actually be much closer to reality than you will if you do any curving like that. When a person smiles, even then, rarely is there a curve like that. I think what gives us the sense of this curve is the fact that when we smile, that the ends of our mouth go up. They do indeed. But that does not usually, the top lip is usually a straight line, or very often, and you know what, I think of the model-esque Marilyn Monroe type smile. The top lip curves down, not up. So just be aware of those things. This is all teeth. Do you understand? And the lips go like that. Now, when a person is smiling, ooh, that's scary, isn't it? When a person is smiling, the lips thin out. They stretch out. So when they're not smiling, like in this sketch right here, the lips can be much fuller. You see, much fatter, much wider in the middle. But then when this person commences to smiling, this thins out a good bit. And the lips get thinner. I think I said that once already. So just all of this comes from observation. Now, let's turn a mouth to the side. Let me draw now a person facing to our left. I've already done some of it up here. Here's a good rule to know, that typically the bottom lip is wider than the top lip when viewed from the front, more or less. And you can see it here viewed from the side as well. The top lip is skinnier, the bottom lip is wider. Now, just a word about lighting, because this will help you a great deal, just to help you with your quick observations. Most of the time, a person that we're looking at is lit from above. When we're outdoors, the light's coming from the sky. When we're in a room like I'm in here, most of the light is near the ceiling. So there are typically things that happen, and that is that most of the time, the top lip is dark and the bottom lip is light. Now, this really becomes a problem if it's a woman wearing dark red lipstick. How do you convey that? Well, it is dark, but there are highlights. The bright sparkle on the woman's red lipstick is on the bottom lip. Do you understand? Not on the top lip, because the top lip is facing toward the ground, is facing downward, like I'm showing you here. Now, and then again, especially if a person is not wearing lipstick, if it's a man, very often the top lip will be dark. Let me represent that by that line. And the bottom lip will be completely light. It would be quite erroneous to draw a line like this. That's not a man's mouth, is it? I mean, we just go, that's a woman's mouth, because she's got lip liner, she's got lipstick on. But if instead of drawing that line, we simply draw the shadow of the bottom lip, in other words, I'm drawing the shadow there, then it can look a little bit more like a man's lip. In fact, it would be even more so now, of course, if I came back and erased these lines. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, just a little bit more about the texture. If you're going to get into that degree of detail, we all know that there are very, very, very fine lines in the lips. It's most pronounced or most visible in the bottom lip than in the top. And these lines will interfere with the reflection, the light that's hitting the bottom lip. So very often, if you're just drawing a lip, make sure that the area right inside that circle is perfectly white. Also, if you are drawing a line for the bottom lip, you'll be more realistic if you allow that line to disappear toward the edges. In other words, don't, as I did here, don't draw the line all the way up there, or you're definitely doing a woman with lipstick on. Okay, let me draw what I'm talking about here. So if I just do the shading, typical top lip in 3 parts, and then the bottom lip, hardly drawn at all. Really, I'm just drawing the shadow of the bottom lip, and then a few very, very light lines. Now, if I were to shade this somewhat, I don't know if I can do it with this charcoal, I'm having a hard time. If I were to shade it just a little bit, I might do something like that. But you'll notice that I'm leaving this area open as a reflection, and I'm not drawing any line there and there. That is a more realistic mouth than you're inclined to do if you draw lines all the way there. Good enough. Have some fun. Draw some mouths. Hold your mouth just right when you're doing it. It helps a lot. Thanks for joining me. If you want to dialogue with me, come to DanNelson, DanNelsonArt.com. Hope to hear from you. Thanks. Bye-bye.